Live from the pitch pad in New York City. Get ready to unleash your inner entrepreneur with Pitch Live with Amy Summers. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just dipping your toes into the Shark Tank, this is the place to be to discover how to turn your pitch into reality. Fasten your seatbelts, pitch stars, because the spotlight is on you and we are about to make success happen. On this episode of Pitch Live,
what I have definitely learned is that I never present anything that I don't love, that I don't believe in, because if they pick it and I don't believe in it, it's very difficult to marry those two, right? So if I find that if I believe in it, if I'm passionate about it, I can sell it.
Get ready for Pitch Live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Pitch Live. I'm your host, Amy Summers, founder and president of Pitch Publicity and an Easy Box. I'm also a hardworking entrepreneur who is passionate about helping you reach success in any area of your life. And I know that is possible after decades of experiencing and perfecting the pitch and enhancing communication skills, which is why I'm here today and joined by Sarita Krishnamurthy, who is an architect and designer and founder and principal of Interior Architecture and Design, a company she started nearly 13 years ago. Congrats about that. So now, Sarita, before I share all the details of your background, I do want to do a quick fire round of questions with you. And I know this is totally unexpected because I didn't give you a heads up.
Okay.
But I want our audience to get to know you and feel like they know who you are without a full introduction. So I'm going to ask you a few questions and give you just 2 choices to answer. Do not think about it. I want to just get your reaction. And I probably know the answer to a lot of these questions since we're also friends, but don't ask me why am I asking. This is for the audience. All right. So here we go. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Colorado or New York?
Colorado.
Oh, okay. Roses or lilies?
Oh, roses.
And they are right behind you. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs. One's locked up in the bedroom, I think. Orange or blue?
Orange.
Orange. Okay.
Yeah.
Paris or Mumbai?
Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Yeah.
All right. Sarita and I both graduated from the University of Florida, hence the orange and blue question, the same year, actually, but we didn't know each other in school. It's a large campus, and we are on very 2 different career paths. Also, Sarita's gone far beyond me with all her study. She also studied global design in Venice, Cambridge, Zurich. She also attended Columbia University here in New York City, earning a dual master's degree in architecture and historic preservation. All of this knowledge and rich academic background has shaped her into a designer with profound understanding of the interplay between contemporary design and historical context, which is very evident in her sophisticated approach to architecture. You can just go to her website and see what I mean. But her talents don't stop there. She's also started a custom pillow line, upscale pillows, called IN.DeLuxe, where she collaborates with local Indian artisans to craft handmade, luxurious textiles that she uses to design upscale pillows. I need one for my couch, I noticed as we were getting ready. Then she takes a large portion, I'm talking about a large portion of every pillow sale, and donates it to Shadhika? Am I saying it right?
Shadhika.
Shadhika? It's a nonprofit that is empowering young girls in India through education, a cause very close to her heart. And I can tell you that Sarita is all heart because I know her personally and I've witnessed her entrepreneurial journey that she started while living here in New York City. We met through our local alumni association club, the University of Florida Gotham Gators. And I've always been inspired by Sarita's grit and style, plus her ability to make success happen, or as we call it, MSH, or make shit happen, which I know you're very good at. So let's get into it. Welcome, Sarita. I'm really excited to talk about pillow pitch talk. today.
Thank you so much for inviting me to join you today, Amy. I'm so
Well,
excited.
I always tell people like when they come intern for me or work for me, I always tell them, look, even if you decide not to go into PR, advertising, the skill of pitching can be used in any industry. So that's one of the things I try to showcase in this podcast. So I thought it'd be really fun to have you on because I've not been in your shoes before, but of course, I've been on the receiving end as like a customer, not your customer because I can't afford you, but as a customer, I did not design my apartment, but I had someone coming in. So I kind of know what it feels like to be the customer. And I thought, I really want to get Sarita's insights on this, on how she navigates this, because design is very personal.
Is very personal, and I've really focused my career in residential design and architecture. So it's very personal to me because home is really special, the idea of home. And that's something that I really kind of drew on in some of the historical writings throughout college and university. Um, but it's personal to the homeowner, to the client, to the end user. And I started my career doing corporate interiors in New York. Um, you don't have an end user. I switched to retail, uh, interior or retail architecture. And again, you don't have a specific end user. And I think that's what always draws me back to residential is it's so personal and so individual.
And you get to
Um,
have that connection. And I think
yeah.
that really comes through on your website too about the home being so personal. I wanted to ask you, so architects, designers, they often have a vision that's hard for clients to imagine initially. How do you successfully pitch your concepts? Because I know you have to come to them with a bunch of concepts in a way that makes them not only see your vision, but believe in it.
Um, it's funny because when you talk about pitch, never really thought of it in terms of what I do because it just seems so natural in terms of going in and meeting with the homeowner. I think for me, it's about gaining their trust. Once you have gained their trust, listened to them, understood what it is that they're looking for in terms of personalization, how do they utilize their space? What do they have now? What doesn't work for them? And then turning that into a vision, I think guides them, leads them to trust you and believe in your vision the same way that you do.
So
Um,
you're kind of bringing them along on this discovery process with you instead of just coming with all these concepts and
Correct.
it may feel like it's out of left field to them a little bit.
Correct. And I always start with what isn't working for you in your space. Let's walk through it. Let's talk about it. And then I also say, because homeowners tend to like with Pinterest and social media, they save, right? Like they save images, they save things they like, and we go through them. What is it about this image that you like? Is it the color? Is it the lighting? Is it the material? And trying to take some of those ideas and really create a space that's so personal to them that they love it. They can't.
So I know in some industries like advertising, they'll come up with like 3 concepts for a company, like on an
Mhm.
ad campaign or something. Are you doing the similar type of thing? Do you go away and come up with, okay, here's some options, or do you just come back with one idea?
I usually give them a couple of 2 or 3 ideas, concepts, designs. I wouldn't say good, better, best, but maybe I would say like what I have definitely learned is that I never present anything that I don't love, that I don't
Mm.
believe in, because if they pick it and I don't believe in it, it's very difficult to marry those 2, right? So all 3 options, there's not a bad option. There's just maybe a safer option that's maybe, not gonna push their boundaries too far. And then there's all the way up to the boldest. Let's just see. Let's see how far they're willing to go. And I don't always expect them to pick that. And it's usually a happy medium between the 2, right? Like there's a compromise, there's a middle ground. Um, and so, yeah, I will never if I find that if I believe in it, if I'm passionate about it, I can sell it. And so that comes through in any of the options I give them.
Is there a psychology behind it? Like, do you never present the first one that you love the most? I mean, you've got to love one of them more out of all 3 concepts.
Oh yeah.
Where in the lineup do you put the one that you love the most?
I
And
always do
hopefully
that
none of
one.
your future customers are watching.
I usually put that one towards the end.
Okay.
I do. I put that one at the end because I want to give them, like show them something that they'll like. Yeah, they like it. It's a good start, but then we build up, right? And then
Okay.
I can really sell them on my passion, my beautiful design, the one that I really love. And, it might be the most risky in terms of pushing their boundaries in terms of color or pattern or texture, but it might not be. It's just something that feels right, right? It feels right for their space, their home, their lifestyle. So,
Have you ever experienced pushback, like, on all 3 designs? And or do you have
yes.
an example of that? Like, when that happens, how do you compromise? Like, this person might wanna do something that you really think is, like it's making your design brain, like, just shriek with, "Oh my gosh." Have you
Oh,
ever had something like that
um,
before?
yeah, I will say that that does happen. Sometimes, okay, then I have to take a step back and I have to say, okay, what is it about this that they love? And what is it about the designs I presented that they don't love? And find how to incorporate what it is that they love in a way that doesn't shatter my vision.
All of your design rules that you studied.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I went into this last project that I did last year here in Denver, and I put a black and white checkered marble floor throughout their entire foyer, all the way from the stairs to the dining room to the living room, any, wood surface that any room it touched. And the clients were like, "Well, that's a lot of marble and I'm not sure." And I said, "Okay. We can work on this." I mean, so I just made it a smaller footprint of marble so that it actually created a specific entry space, and they love it. They absolutely love the install, and it didn't change my design integrity, right? It still married the 2.
You
So
still got your way, but in a smaller way.
exactly, and it is all about compromise because, again, it's not my home, and, project after project, I have to remind myself, this is not my space, this is their space, and now as I've matured in my career and in my business, it's much easier for me to approach people that way.
Do you ever walk away from a project if you can't get to the compromise position? Or do you
Oh,
just go with exactly what they tell you to do?
that's a hard question. In my mind, I feel like sometimes I can't do it, but I would not say I've walked away from a design challenge, right? I can always find a way to give them what they want without compromising my integrity. Um, it might not always be, exactly what I want, but
You may not feature it on your social media, but
but at the end of the day, it's something that they love, and I want it. For me, it's more about building the relationship with the
Mhm.
client than it is about getting that wow on my website, right? Like the wow on my website is great, but if the client is unhappy at the end of the day, that's not going to
That's not a
benefit.
win.
That's not a win for me. Exactly.
So, it sounds like, obviously, there's a lot of negotiation skills you have to have. You have to have some persuasive skills. You obviously have to pitch and present. Did you learn these types of skills in your schooling, or did you learn them from somebody else once you got into your career?
Um, well, I think architecture school certainly prepares you for pitching.
Okay.
We always every semester we would have to present our projects. And, it was nerve-wracking, but as the years went on, you hone those skills a little bit better, a little bit better. And then every office that I ever worked at before I started my career, you listen.
Mhm.
You might not be, you know, the head of the company, the manager, but if you always have your ears and eyes open, you'll learn. And that to me is the fastest way to go up the proverbial ladder, right? Like that's every junior's dream is to be managing their own project in a big firm in New York. Well, the way that those are the skills that you have to have. Watch, learn, listen.
I always call it, mentorship by osmosis because the person doing the mentoring may not even realize they're mentoring, but if you pay attention, like you said, you
That's
can learn a
correct.
lot from people.
Yeah.
Um, I always tell people that wanna be entrepreneurs, I'm like, "Well, you need to go work for a startup or some, company that's really small because you're gonna learn so much quicker, faster how
Yep.
to build something than if you work at a big company. You may never even meet the head person for months."
Correct. And I would say, like, as a female small business owner, I've worked with a lot of other female small business owners, designers, and I've watched and I've learned and I've listened to how they approach clients, how they approach contractors, how they approach vendors in general, like the site conditions. It really does impact you in ways that you wouldn't realize until you're in that situation. And you can go back through your file in your mind, right? And say, oh, yeah, that's the right way to do it. So, or that really helped in that situation. So it does help. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, given the competitive nature of business, just period, how do you differentiate yourself when you're pitching against other architects and designers for a project? Somebody's shopping around. What do you feel like makes your pitch stand out?
It's funny. I don't really know that because I don't know how other architects or designers really pitch, except for the companies that the designers that I've worked with in the past. But what I will say is that I do make it personal, right? I get to know my clients. I get to know their lives, their families, and I think that that makes a difference. It's passion for me. It's from the heart. It means something to me. It's not just a project. And I think that when people meet me, they feel that and they know that. I don't do anything that I'm not passionate about. I mean, if I walk in and I meet a client and I don't feel that connection, then maybe we're not the right fit, right? It has to be a connection on both sides.
Hmm.
And I found that those are the best. They produce the best end result. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I could really see that, especially in your line of work. You really have to know about their personal lives because you're helping them create a personal environment for those lives. So you need to know about the kids and the dog and the cat and
Oh
the
yeah.
lizards or whatever they have.
I mean, I'm not going to give somebody a velvet sofa if they've got 3 dogs, 2 kids, and a cat.
Hmm.
I mean, there
It's
are
not going
things
to end well.
it's like yes. So you do have like, you have to realize who they are,
And
and
what's
become part of it.
practical? Like, there's the
Right.
design, but like, what's practical for their lives too?
And I will say that most of my clients, I do end up I mean, they're clients, but they're also friends by the end of the project. Some of them are like family, like because we work so closely together. I know so many details of people's lives. It's really, it's a lot of architects have a hard time going into residential because you're working between a husband and a wife, maybe a couple of kids. and you're
Yeah, you
trying to
might
dance.
discover that the husband and wife don't wanna be in the same bedroom, they want their own bedrooms.
Or they may not like the same thing, and the husband's not gonna give in to the wife, or the wife's not gonna give in to the husband. So, like, there's a lot of finessing that goes on in this line of design. So, yeah,
It almost sounds like you have to be a little bit of therapist in the middle of all this.
that's exactly right. Therapist/designer.
Best friend. You're getting it all with Sarita. All right, so let's shift a little bit because I really wanna hear the story behind, this luxury pillow line that you started, In.DeLuxe. Why did you start this? How does it is it part of your other business, or does it line up with it, or is it just a side thing that you're doing? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I mean, I think it's a natural progression. It becomes a home accessory. So it is a natural progression from residential design to decor. Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess growing up and going between the States and India, I've always just been captivated by the colors of India. I mean, the colors and the fabrics, the textures, learning about, each region has a very specific silk or material. I watched my mother get dressed in her saris, and she'd tell me the story about, where this state and what is special about this fabric. And so it's just part of my upbringing. And then it just kind of was a happy accident. I found these beautiful fabrics on one of my trips, and I had no idea that I was going to start a line of throw pillows with them, but I just couldn't resist. And I had to buy them, so I bought some yardage and I brought them back, and I was sitting there looking at them and just thinking about it, and I was like, wow, this could be my creative interpretation, and one of the things that I've noticed a lot in craftsmanship is that it's kind of dying. Machine made products are coming out. You can go to West Elm and buy a pillow 100 times over if you wanted. I could have it, my neighbor could have it, and somebody in New York could have it, right? But I wanted to create something that was really special, that spoke to the different crafts of India, the different craftsmen, the different trades, the different materials, textiles, but also was unique, right? So each line that I have is very limited. So there might be 10, I think the most I've ever had in one line is 20 of the same pillow. So you know that there's only going to be 20 people anywhere that will have that
Mhm.
unique piece. So it creates a little bit of it's just special. There's a special feeling when you look at it and you know that a craftsman helped create that fabric.
So you're sourcing the material and the textiles from India. Is there a certain part of India that you only source from, or are you sourcing from
Um,
different areas?
so far, it has been really local. It's been Mumbai,
Okay.
because that's where I spend most of my time when I go home to see my family. And But my goal is to travel to different regions and work with local artisans within that region to find a fabric that works. I really love the idea of block printing, and I do have block prints in my
Mhm.
collection right now. Um, but I want to go to the state of Gujarat and really work with traditional block printers to create that kind of special fabric, something that's really unique, only to my line of throw pillows. Or, there are special silks in the south of India where my father is from that I would love to explore and watch them weave and select my fabrics that way. Maybe from a local family weaver. But there's so much. The country could be mapped out in textiles. Um, it's amazing, and so I want to share that part of my culture and my heritage with everyone.
Now, tell us about the philanthropic side of it, because you say that when somebody purchases a pillow, that you give a large portion back to help girls in India get a better education. How does that work exactly?
I think that's something that kind of tugs at me in a different way. I'm very lucky in growing up in the States and having the opportunities that I've had through education, and being a female in a country where I know that I can start a business, where I know I can create and be the entrepreneur that I want to be. And I think that that's something that's still growing in certain countries, and especially in India. Young girls need help. Um, and it's something that I've always been very passionate about. I believe that if you can dream it, you can do it. And they need the opportunity to dream. And I think a lot of the girls in smaller villages just don't see that dream. And Shadhika helps them. They they get them educated. They have schools. And then they go on from that to college, and they actually can see a future. Child marriage is still a very big part of the smaller villages in India, and that's something that Shadika has really worked hard to to combat. And so I believe in their cause, and for that, it's very easy for me to work to collaborate with them and share part of the sales to help those girls.
So is it mainly your clients that you're pitching these pillows to, or do you pitch it? Can anyone buy them, or how does it
Anyone
work?
can Yeah, anyone can buy them. I mean, I have had clients who have really fallen in love with them, and and that's been great. But no, I think I have them online, and it's something that anybody can go online and purchase. I'm trying. I've been in local boutiques here in Denver, as well. Um, I mean, I never want to grow so big in either side of my business that I can't be hands on. So, will it become a huge, you know, a large scale production? Probably not. It'll always stay, pretty unique. But you can always find them,
That's
and you can
great.
always find me. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, before we pivot a little bit more, I want to get into some mentorship discussion with you. But is there a memorable presentation that you've given for like a large design project that really stands out to you? Or maybe it was on the pillows that you gave and you learned a big lesson from.
Um, I'd say yes. Probably in both. But,
Okay.
recently, I was at an event and I met the editor of a local design magazine, 5280 Home. And I don't know that I really pitched her, um, either of
You ended up with an article.
with design or with my pillows. But, there was something about our discussion that prompted her to go look at my website. And she emailed me later that week and she said, "We absolutely love your pillows, and we would love to feature them in one of our spring issues." And it's just, "Would you be interested?" And I said, "Of course." And I sat down and I thought to myself, "Well, how did that happen?" Like, how was I so lucky
How did
that
that happen and how can I get more of that?
Um, and it was, but I think it's because I spoke to her from my heart, right? I didn't speak to her in terms of I want to get in her magazine, right?
Mhm.
And she gets hundreds of emails from different designers, different architects to get published. And, I just had a conversation with her and I shared with her my passions of design, of social causes, and that led me to get a beautiful article in in one of their magazines last year. So I feel really lucky. But
So let's and congrats, by the way. I
thank
saw
you.
it. But let's back up a little bit. I want to get back to the start of the story on how it happened because I find that really interesting. So you said you were at an event or something where you
For
met her?
these for the 50, yeah, I was at an it was just a it was an event at a showroom here locally in Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, and,
And they were there because they were just attending or
they were
hosting?
just yeah, they were just she was just attending. She was actually on her way to a yoga class, so she had her yoga mat tucked up under her arm, and that's how we started talking.
And she was the editor or a writer?
The editor of the
And did you know
magazine.
she was the editor of the magazine when you met
I
her?
didn't at the time, but after she had gone to her yoga class, um, I found out that she was
Oh,
the
so
editor.
when you met her at this event, she's there in her yoga pants and Matt ready to
Yeah,
get out of there.
yeah.
And did you approach her or did she come up to you initially and start
I think
speaking?
we were in the same kind of group, like, little circle, and we just started talking, and, I think that's just one of the I don't know if it's a skill or not, but I can talk. I
It,
love to
it's a
talk about
skill.
things. When I'm passionate about something, I can talk about it for hours, and it doesn't feel like a sale. It feels natural, right? And I
Okay,
think
so
that's
so you're in a group, you're at an event, you have the editor that you don't know is the editor of this magazine in yoga pants about to jet out. What was it that you said that caught her attention in that moment?
I don't know. We were talking, I think, about my time between New York and Denver and my love of color. And because I think that's also, if you go to my website, you'll see that's one of the things that I love. I love color, and I'm not afraid. I will always try and push my clients towards it. Sometimes it's a hard sell, but I think it's a little bit more unique in a city like Denver, and so it just kind of, maybe, I don't know if that triggered something in her. I brought up kind of my love for helping young girls in India, and I talked a little bit about that, and so I don't know if it was I'm not exactly sure what it was that sold her, but, it just it worked out.
Well, you bring up I love this story for a couple reasons. Number 1, because I mean, in my line of work, we deal with media all the time, and whenever we go to events, I have to say, it's always surprising to me, especially print journalists. They come so incognito, like, you don't even know that that's what they do for a living. With TV people, it's obvious. They come in with a crew and like, okay, you're like, okay, there's a media here. But with print, it's so funny to me that she was there at this event with an inner yoga outfit and you didn't know because it's not what you think a journalist is going to dress like. But they always do that. So they're always kind of coming in as a regular person. So be on guard because you don't know who you're speaking to.
Exactly.
And you could be speaking to an editor of a magazine. And I love that I think anytime you drop New York, people always are listening because whether they live there or not, they love hearing about New York. And
Exactly. I think, yeah, I mean, the design culture in New York City is, it's world renowned. And I think that's where I learned a lot of my design skills, but also a lot of my interacting people skills.
mhm.
Um,
You definitely
and
learned hustle skills from here. I know you did.
that's right. Yeah. And, I tell you, on a daily basis, it doesn't feel like hustling. It just feels like doing something that I love every
Mhm.
day. Um, so yeah, where it takes me next, I don't know. Um, but
And I think the other part of that story is that you had something to talk about, really, because you developed this IN.DeLuxe line, you had a story to tell. And I think people, especially journalists, are always captivated by stories. So that because you led with that, I'm sure that caught her attention. So congrats on
yeah,
the placement.
thank
And
you.
and you got it from just being yourself and being kind to everybody that you meet.
Yeah, because like you said, you never know who you meet and
Mhm.
whether they're a lead to a client or an article. Um, and in Amy words, it's pitching. Um, and I guess in Sarita's word, it's leading with your heart.
Mhm.
So
Well, let's talk about mentorship a little bit because we do talk about mentorship on this show. And I just wanted to know, has there been any pivotal mentors in your career that really stand out to you? That somebody that opened a door or gave you an opportunity or gave you, even if it was like just a one-off piece of advice that like made all the difference?
Well, I'm looking at one right now.
Oh.
If
Me?
anybody would be a mentor for me, I mean, yes, I have had my design mentors along the way. And, like I said, a lot of the females that I have worked with in the design industry, I mean, I still can call them and they'll call me. And, like it's a give and take, it's a back and forth, but they're always there for me. And actually some non-females too, but or some non-women entrepreneurs. But, I would say the one person that really stands out when I thought about a mentor was you.
Aw,
I mean,
thank
as
you.
soon as I met you, there was just something about you. You kind of took me under your wing in a way. And it's not about design, but it was about being empowered. It was about channeling your best self for your business. So, and being the best you that you could be, and I learned that from you.
Oh, well,
So
thank you. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
I know you weren't, but I would say out of everybody, you're the one who has stood out to me the most.
I remember, very specifically, I don't remember the name of this restaurant, maybe you do, but I remember the brunch where you were first telling me about this pillow idea of yours, and we did a little post with it because you had a
Oh, yeah.
pillow.
I remember the restaurant. I don't remember the name of it either, but
I
it was
think you picked it. It was beautiful. It was, like, outside, and there were lots of flowers, and
yeah.
I was like, "Well, we'll just do a social post on it right now. Get it going."
I mean, if you hadn't pushed me, I would probably still be thinking about it, right? But sometimes it's just somebody nudging you a little bit closer to the edge for you to jump.
Well, I don't
And
remember what I specifically said. Do you?
I just know that you are very passionate about me and about me as a designer, and you always have been. And you've always made me feel like I can do this. I can be a business owner, right? If I can design for my clients, right? It doesn't have to be for somebody else. And so it's just been an easy one for me
And
to
look, you
do.
are a designer, businesswoman, owner, running your own show, and I love it. And now you're on my podcast.
Yeah,
This is
sometimes I have to
amazing.
stop and think, am I really doing this? But yeah,
You're really doing
every day I wake up and I do it. And I mean, I'm lucky that some of my clients have actually let me also take control of the construction process. So, that's another little thing that I've added to my business,
Another
project
notch.
management, another notch. And I never thought that that would be something that I would take on. But, I'm not afraid of a challenge and I'm not afraid to to really push myself to the edge. If I can't, you never know unless you try. And my clients have been very gracious with with it. And I'm lucky. I feel very blessed and lucky to have these opportunities. Um and who knows what's next.
Who knows what's next? Well, I really do love that about you. I love that, like you said in the beginning, you push your clients to take risk, but I love that you also push yourself to take risk. And it's a testament to where you are today. As we wrap up, what's the your pitch to our audience, or how can they find you? Where can they find these pillows exactly? How do they reach out to you if they're interested in adding Sarita to your family? Because that's what's going to happen if you
That's
work with her.
exactly what happens. You can find me at my website, which is Indeed.com. Also, I'm on social media. In.DeLuxe is my handle on Instagram, I believe. It's so funny because I don't even I know
It
it's
is.
there.
It's indie. It's IN.DeLuxe. It is there. I checked. And Sarita_Indie as well.
Exactly.
INDE.
But I will say to my to potential clients, what you see is what you get. It's just me, and like I said, I love my clients. I give them 100% of me. My business will always stay to the point where I can do that. That's a really key part for me, whether it's in my pillows or in my design business. Being hands-on and being very involved in every step of the process is what you get with me. And I hope that it shows in the process.
Well, it definitely shows. And when you go see Sarita's pillows, you're going to see exactly what we're talking about. So thank you so much, Sarita, for
Thank
joining
you,
us today. I
Amy.
know that you have inspired so many people in your career journey, and you're going to just continue to do that. And I want to encourage everyone to share this episode so we can get more people exposed and inspired by all the amazing work that Sarita is doing in interior design for India and beyond. And be sure to connect with her on her social media. We will have it for you in the show notes. Thank you again,
Thank
Sarita,
you.
for being on. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Pitch Live with Amy Summers. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a rating or review. Your feedback helps us plan future episodes. I hope you were inspired today to get out there and maybe hire a designer for that apartment or house. Get a new look. But also just to advocate for yourself, advocate for others, as Sarita so beautifully does for so many young women in India. And as a bonus, join us at Inisi Box, where you can get motivated, hone your communication skills, and binge as much mentorship as you want whenever you need it. The link's going to be in the show notes with all of my social media handles and Sarita's. So let's stay connected. I know I owe you a trip out to Denver. It's going to happen.
Okay.
But maybe you need to come to New York too.
I
'Cause
definitely
New York's always a good idea.
I need my city fix. I sure do.
And everybody, let's continue to MSH. Keep making it happen, Sarita. We're going to be watching you. Bye.
Bye.